Ruchi, it's Crystal from Toronto again.
Oh, what's up?
My question that I have for today is a bit of a touchy subject or a difficult question.
Let's do it.
Should you donate your organs to a non-vegan? And the reason why I ask this is because, there's a stats. Like, I know, right? There's a stats like one person in their lifetime will eat like 7,000 animals kind of thing. So by saving one life, you're taking hundreds and thousands of lives if that person doesn't become a vegan.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I want to, like, I mean, at the end of my life, like, if my organs, I'm so happy to donate to people who need it. It's just that there's no current, like, regulation or law where you can state, oh, I will only give my organs if the person agrees to become a vegan. So, it might end up to a person who just might not become a vegan and who ends up taking hundreds of thousands of lives.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I don't know.
Okay. Let's talk about this. I love this. I love difficult questions. This is fun.
I know.
What do you think, Crystal?
Sorry, it's a difficult question.
What do you think?
Yeah. What do I think?
Yeah.
Like, I really wish that, like, before, like, if I was diagnosed with something and I'm dying, and, like, I wish I could talk to the person who will be getting it and be like, you know what, like, I'm so happy to give this to you, my organs, but, like, I just, like, want you to make one promise and, all of this, but I don't think that's gonna be the case.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's like then do you put the life of a person above animals, above, like, and of course, like, for me, all lives are equal.
Yep.
There's no one life form that has more higher value than, like, another. So that being said, like, if I knew that by that person not becoming vegan, that thousands of lives might just be taken, then I don't want to give my organs, because, like, also knowing that, like, my organs will be, like, I don't know, helping another person to take other lives. I don't know, I just don't like that.
That makes sense to me. Yeah. So is your question, like, are you actually asking this because you're wondering what to do for yourself, or is it's more kind of like a thought experiment that you're having? I'm curious.
I guess kind of both. Like, it's something that I've always kind of wondered for myself, and it's one of those things that you never bring up with another person, even another vegan. You just kind of can't really ask because I know it's, like, a very touchy subject, or, like, it might kind of, like, judge you, like, what, like, you're not gonna give your organs to people, like, because you're worried that they're gonna take lives, like, what kind of person are you, kind of thing.
Yep.
So and I don't want to have this kind of discussion with friends, so
I understand.
I
understand.
what do you
If I record this, like, which I am recording this, and I put it out, and there are certain people who see this, they're gonna be mad, man. They're gonna be so mad. But okay.
I'm gonna get so much, like, backlash on this.
Let's talk about it. I think the way that you're feeling is completely justified.
Yeah.
There is no reason why the life of a human being should be more valuable than the life of any other living being on this planet. And we know this as people who stand against speciesism.
Yeah.
And the reason why, for anyone who might be confused, is because me as a human being, I value my life the same way that a chicken values their life, the same way that a cow values their life, the way that a pig values their life. So there are probably different philosophical approaches that you could have to this. But if your philosophy is anything near utilitarianism, which is the concept of causing the least amount of harm possible, then is it ethical to donate your organs to a non-vegan who, I mean, if they didn't get your organs, they might get someone else's, but let's say, for the sake of playing philosopher, right? Because this is how philosophers think. I don't know why. They just have these unbelievable hypothetical situations. Well, if the only way that they would survive is you would have to donate your organs to them, and they're not vegan, and looking at it through a utilitarian and anti-speciesist lens, is it ethical for you to donate your organs to them? No, it's not. It's just not.
No. Yeah. But, like, the flip side of that is if that person became a vegan and became, like, an activist,
that's true.
The person will be saving
that's true.
many lives.
I guess the way that you would think about that is there's no way that you could there's no way that you could predict that. But I think maybe what's more important to talk about here is why would it be that me making a statement like that would be so controversial? What would people even get mad at that? And I think that's something that's very interesting to think about, because let's create an analogy here. What if someone was dying, but they're a mass murderer. They killed human beings. Would anyone be conflicted about letting that person die as opposed to giving them our organs? Or if someone was a serial rapist, would we have a conflict about that? If you went out and told people, I want to give my organs, but if someone is a mass murderer, I'm sorry, but I don't want to do it. Would anyone ever have an issue with that?
Right. They wouldn't. And but then people only define murder as killing other people.
Exactly.
Not other animals, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
But, murder is murder. So.
Yeah. From the victim, and from the victim's perspective, this is what we're looking at, and the difference in reaction here.
Yeah.
What that shows more than anything is, well, first it shows moral inconsistency on people's part, but it just shows how speciesist our society is, that we would have such a different reaction. And here too, the suffering that a meat eater, that's a suffering of someone who's not vegan, creates for non-human animals.
Yeah.
Is greater than the suffering that most mass murderers create for humans. Neither are right. If you had to look at them on a scale, it's not like this one is better than the other one, so the other one is okay. That's not what I'm saying. They're both 100. They're both 10,000% wrong. Both 1,000,000% wrong. But within utilitarianism, right? Philosophers I think Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill, they'll try to quantify. How do we quantify the happiness or the value that's being created for people, and how do we quantify pain? Well, if there was a way to quantify that, someone who eats animals creates way more suffering for non-human animals than most people who kill other human beings, and that's just a stone cold fact. So that being the case, even though that's the case, we're so emotional, and even as people who are vegan and as people who understand this, it's pretty obvious what we're talking about here. We feel uncomfortable talking about this.
Yeah.
Because that's just how speciesist our society is. That even just talking about it is something that, even if we know we're right, we'll feel uncomfortable talking about it. And I think that's something very interesting to note.
That's true. That's true. And I'm glad that I could kind of hear your take on this and views, because it's something that I never brought up with anyone, and I just kind of wanted to hear what another person kind of thought about it. So yeah.
I think our job as advocates for animals is to say those kinds of things like they're obvious.
Yeah.
Because it's only by us verbalizing those types of thoughts that it's going to start to become seen as normal. When I first started advocating for animals, I would be very shy about, really speaking for animals the way that they deserve to be spoken up for, because I just felt I'm gonna piss some people off, and I don't want to do that. And at the end of the day, and I realized this. And for example, the other day, I was watching a video by my friend Hudson. Do you know Hudson? Yeah. So he put out a video where he was talking to this guy who basically said himself that he was an animal abuser, and I watched that video, and because it's not me in the video, I was able to see it from the point of view of a third party, and he was saying these things he said at some point in the video, he said, what could be more abusive than killing an animal when we could eat something else? And the way that he said it, he made it sound so obvious, and it's so true that I was putting myself in the perspective of someone who's not vegan, who's never really thought about this before, I'd be yeah, that's a really good point. That's a good point, And when we say those statements, but we say it from a place where it's don't you think it's abusive to kill an animal when we don't have to, and we're hesitant about it? I think that it really loses its power, and I think that we gotta be honest and talk about it the way that it is. And if it pisses people off, then so be it. We're gonna piss people off anyways, no matter what we do in life, unless we're just a platitude, which is not a way that I want to live.
That's so true. Yeah. No, you brought so much value to my thinking and perspective, so I really appreciate that.
You got it.
I know it wasn't a very easy question, so.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's an easy question. But I think it's a very, I think it's a very easy question. I think it's an uncomfortable. I think it's an uncomfortable topic to talk about.
I think maybe that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Yeah.
But the question
But
is,
to me,
yeah,
the answer was very clear. Like, I don't want to. Was the answer was like, you know, I don't want to give it to someone who will be taking like so many more lives.
Yeah.
You know, want to save that one life.
Yep.
Even though like that person might be human, like, and you know, if that person takes like hundreds and thousands of animals' lives, then life is a life, you know?
Yep. No, 100%. 100%.
This was a good conversation.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Crystal. Thanks for joining.
No worries. Thank you so much.